Now, disclaimer. I think it's a disclaimer and a warning at the same time, depending on your perspective. Crystal and I are competing for the title, the Messiest Master or the Mess Master. So this is not going to be your linear 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of session. This is going to be highly interactive. And when I say highly, it's underscore on the highly interactive. Starting with right now, I want you to type your questions, concerns, anything that you had in mind when you decided you wanted to attend this session. Type them in the chat and we will attempt to address all of them during the next 50 minutes or so. And also, again, disclaimer or warning, depending on where you're coming from, are going to avoid too many. We're not going to have PowerPoints. I will, however, have a few slides just to demonstrate a really cool Zoom feature that I suspect not very many know about. So please type whatever questions you may have on the chat, and I'm already seeing several questions. One of the questions, by the way, is do we keep our videos on? I know that the recommendation is to turn it off, but I believe with this number, as long as we don't hit 45 or 50, which I doubt, if we're 35-ish, which is amazing, we should be fine with everybody on their videos. And it just is so much easier to interact with people when you can see them. Although the very first step, just jumping forward, well, there's no jumping forward because we're not linear here, but I just want to make this point very clear. When you think you are looking at somebody on the screen, you are actually looking away from the camera. You know that, right? Let's say, for example, now I'm looking at our Zoom master who is nodding. See, right now you all see that I'm looking away. But right now I'm looking at all of you, into your eyes, into your soul. But actually, I'm not looking at any of you. I'm looking at that little round dot or circle up on the top of my laptop. It takes time. It's very difficult. And for me, early on, what I used to do is I put a round piece of paper, like a target. I put it around that camera so that if my eyes strayed away because I was looking at Dee over here with her smile, or looking at Casey, or trying to find Jack behind his video muted, I would not see that camera. So I have, now it's a habit. I just stare right at it. So that if you learn nothing else, and I hope you will learn a lot, but if you learn nothing else from this session, one of the best ways to be your best on Zoom is to look into that little round dot. For some of you, it might be white, yellow, green, whatever, but look into that. Okay, now I'm somebody, I'm seeing a lot of questions, and please raise your hand if you object to just going and answering questions. If you want a PowerPoint, this is not the right session. But anyway, I will try to be as, I will try to address all the questions in order. What we're seeing is how do we do best lighting? Like, disclaimer, what you see right now is not best lighting. I am in an RV. This is an RV. This is the back window. And I only have the ceiling light. And I tried to find a little lamp so you're not getting best lighting. However, the best lighting is triangular. And remind me, Crystal, please, I will share with everybody on who attended this call or this session a very good PowerPoint presentation, or not a PowerPoint presentation, but tips on lighting. But just looking at my hands now, the best lighting is triangulated. You will have one on top from your ceiling, and then you will have two each from the side front. That gives you, that removes the shadow. You see right now I have a bit of shadow here because my lamps are stuck to one pole. So instead of being able to move them apart like almost a triangle, imagine yourself being this, the, what they call that? If it's an isosceles, you're the top and then the light goes like that and then a pyramid up on top. It it gives you perfect shade. The other thing for lighting is avoid the white lights unless you want to look like you're getting ready for a zombie experience. Use the yellow lights. Yellow gives you a, if you have an iPhone, you probably see that when you choose options, vivid, warm, it's yellowish. And it makes you more friendly, more approachable, as if I needed to be more approachable. But anyway, if you want to look more warm and friendly and approachable, use yellow light. If you want to look a bit scary or stern, use white light. And of course, we all know the eyeglasses really makes you look more stern. Plus, there's reflection. Unless you're really good at it, I noticed Crystal's good at it, but even if you are, sometimes when you angle your head, you'll get that kind of reflection, which doesn't help your being best on Zoom. Now, Martina says, I just want to look professional on Zoom. There are many little tips and hacks, as I said, and I'm going to do this. And this is recorded, but hey, I want to demonstrate. You see right now, this looks, I think most of you'll agree, it looks professional, right? I mean, it's clean, it's uncluttered. Let me move this a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. You see that? Dun, 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 dun. Move the other side. Dun, 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 dun. There. I mean, that was just a bit of bringing you into my RV. So very important, your screen staging. That's the start of looking professional. I will not name names, but there was one senior district leader. He had a Zoom call and, granted this was before COVID, so people were just getting used to Zoom. And I think his intention was good. So his front was probably very clear, but we don't see that. His back had his stuff. And so we could see stuff behind. So remember that what you see is not what the audience sees, right? So make sure that what the audience sees is the good side. You can see the mess, that's fine. I mean, if you can deal with it, okay? Now, Lisa says, I want to know how to change the background to a picture. Oh, yes. We are going to go to that in a later part when I will invite, where is he? I will invite Santa from the North Pole to do some demonstrations. Lisa, if we don't answer that before we end the session, scream, okay? You have permission to scream. Oh, Joe, we're messy. I'm wanting your best Zoom tips. Well, yeah, we're trying, and we're hopefully, Karen, we do that. Best Zoom tips, we'll try to deliver that. How do you effectively focus your camera without staring? That's important. How do you focus without staring? Now, I don't know if I'm staring right now, but this is what it means to look at the camera straight. Now, I think staring is like, I'm not sure what the question actually implies, but focusing the camera means looking at the same level. If you could have a ruler or a tape measure, have the top of your laptop or computer at the same level as your head so that your eye level is almost perfectly, if you could draw a straight line. Now, sometimes that's difficult with our setup. Again, with your permission, I will show you how I did that. I experimented with several different heights, a shoebox, a little bit too low. I had a rack a little bit too high. So get ready to see what I have. Dun, 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 dun. You see this, I got this from Weimar. You see that stool? You see that? All of you, not if you see it. That's where my laptop was sitting. Okay, so I hope you saw that. That's eye level. So if you have a table, try and find something to elevate so you'll be at eye level. That gives you that focus. Because see what happens when you're not at eye level. This is, a lot of people do that. It looks like I'm looking down at you, right? And that's simply because I have my laptop below my eye level. Or then some people put it too high, and then it looks like you're looking up. So neither way gives you a good perspective. So right now, see again, I'm almost perfectly centered, I hope. Okay, let me see. Boy, we have several other questions. And Crystal, maybe you can read off the other questions as we go, because
Yes, I'm more than happy to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Ye ask and ye shall receive. So I did see that our Santa Claus is going to be taking care of that. I'm going to answer Judy's question here because I can answer this. Also, only 4 people show on the screen, so I have to swipe several times to see everyone. If you see the upper view there, you can change your view to see everyone in a block setting like I am seeing now versus that. Looks like Tim asked, how do you avoid glare from from your eyeglasses?
Okay, that is an important, Tim, I tried doing that. I think, well, this might not be the best answer you're looking for, but the best way is to just drop the eyeglasses. I wear contacts and I also have eyeglasses. For general use, daily use, I just have my glasses. But when I have a presentation, when I am the presenter, I take the time to put my contacts on. Now, if you don't have that option to have contacts versus glasses, one of the ways is to, and I tried this with filter film, like the one you use in for laundry, the laundry fiber anti-static. If you put that over your screen, don't block your camera. Okay, don't block your camera, but put it over the rest of your screen. It will not reflect too much back on your glasses, because really most of the reflection comes from your screen. Now, if you try that and you still have reflection in your glasses, it could be your lighting, just slightly moving the lighting angle. If you can move it, if it's like a lamp, then that will again avoid the reflection. Now, if you have a ceiling light, obviously you can't change the location of the ceiling light, then maybe just the angle of your head. And it takes a little practice, but I've done it when I didn't have my new contacts re-upped yet, and it works. You don't have that glare on your glasses. Give it a try. The filters really work if your reflection is coming from your computer screen. Next question. What's our next question? While you're looking for the next question, I
don't
see
see
one.
any other questions. I can go back up through the chat here. I have a notepad I have a notepad device and cameras on the left side. Should I put computer vertical? That's from Judy Moore.
Okay, let me see if I understand that. I have notepad, the device and the camera is on the left side. Should I put computer vertical? I don't use a notepad or a tablet, so I am not quite sure what advice to give on that. But Crystal, if you can take note, I can reach out to my Zoom friends who use all kinds of devices, and we can find an answer for that. There's another question from Lisa. How do you put the timer colors on the screen? Tiger, why don't you demonstrate just now your beautiful timing cards? And
Absolutely.
as you do it, I will explain how that's being done.
Well, first off, let me get the website real quick of where you go on toastmasters.org to download these. They are free. There is actually 5 different sets. As you can see, my background is one of the professional Toastmasters backgrounds. Let me get the other ones. You can just type in the search Zoom backgrounds, which is what I'm doing right now. And in fact, I can share my screen on that.
Yes. Crystal, while you're doing that, remember we said that we didn't want to be same as, same as. So what, Crystal, if you can take your screen off right now, just for
Oh, you're
now.
killing
Okay.
me.
Okay. Yeah. What I wanted was to, unless you want to look like everybody else, then yes, you can do that. But look over at Tiger right now. Let me spotlight him. So that's his green. And Tiger, can you move on to your yellow? That's his yellow. And the strawberries, yes. We even joke sometimes in our club about wanting to have, hit the red light so that we get to see the strawberries. Now, how to put the colors on the screen? That is, okay. Tiger has them set up on his virtual background, and we will have Brian in the last maybe before we get, let me see the time, we will give Brian some time to demonstrate some cool tricks because his computer is more powerful than mine, and he will do that. So Lisa, hang on to that, and the others who want to see some cool stuff on demonstrated live.
We have a question here of how to effectively do backgrounds without a green screen, or what's a good, easy green screen?
Okay, now I have to answer that with sadness in my voice because I realized that without a green screen is not an option for everyone. I discovered that there are certain capabilities or computer microprocessor strengths that allow you to use to do virtual background without green screen. Mine, for instance, doesn't allow me. So I need to have a green screen, or at least I have to kind of cheat Zoom and say and click, I have a green screen. Otherwise, I cannot use virtual backgrounds. So the question was, how do you use green screen with or without an actual green screen? Number one, you need to have the right computer. Later, before we end, I will share a resource from Zoom that lists several pages of what are the configurations, power, processor, etc., that you need to have to be able to do those cool tricks. Now, do we have another question?
Yes. What is the best way to hear internet audio, wired or wireless earbuds?
Wonderful. Now, you will notice right now that I decided to be direct. I actually unplugged my headset because I knew I would be in a quiet background. So if you know that you'll be in a quiet background, and I hope this is a fairly quiet background. If you hear any noise, let me know. Then I will plug this in. So this is a good way because it sounds natural. Now, if you know you will be in a slightly noisy background, then use a headset if you're on a laptop. And I would recommend, I have no commission, but Logitech is a really good brand. And this particular set has been with me for incredibly more than 2 years. And that's constant use because I am a member, as Tiger mentioned, of several clubs plus other meetings. So Logitech would be a good, look for the one that says noise blocking. And this has been tested. People are watching TV, loud volume. And I ask the people on the screen, sorry for the noise. And they say, what noise? Okay. Now, if you are using a phone, then use whatever your phone headbuds or headsets come with a phone. They're better than buying something that may not match. Bluetooth, I know some people use Bluetooth. I personally am not comfortable with Bluetooth, so I can't speak about Bluetooth. I hope I've answered the question.
Michelle, I can speak about Bluetooth. It
There you are.
depends on what headset you are using. The cost on certain wireless like earbuds, I prefer the earbuds over the other headsets. But if you have a Bluetooth headset like Michelle is using, that's a little bit more comfortable, but a little bit more pricey. So it just depends on your price point of whether you're willing to spend $150, $200 on some effective Bluetooth, but Bluetooth can also be a hindrance because of battery power. So I always prefer the wired headsets over the wireless. Now, one thing I can also say is if you have a new iPhone, getting one of these splitter cables, if you can see it, will absolutely help you because one side is power and one side is for your headphones, since you are not allowed to have that in new iPhones.
Yes, and thank you. And then I just saw a question or a comment from Kathleen. And unfortunately, Kathleen, I can't help you because my MacBook Air has the same problem as yours. Kathleen is saying I can't use virtual background because the microprocessor isn't powerful enough. I was really disappointed, to tell you. I thought that Apples were supposed to be better, but apparently not. So sorry about that. And I guess short of buying a new, more powerful MacBook Air, this one was 1,300. So heck, no way. No matter how much I love Zoom, and I do, I'm not going to get a new MacBook just to be able to use that fancy stuff. And yes, New Horizons, Jennifer, yes, you've got the same problem. I guess if we just think in terms of how can we be the best using our equipment, I think that would be a better mantra. So like I said, I'm in an RV, but hey, this can look good. The lighting may not be perfect, but I would say it's good enough. Now, I am looking at the time and I think we want to show some of the cool stuff now, and then we can go back to some other questions. But I'd like to show some of the cool features which Zoom has. And granted, some of them, to show them, there's one feature, and most of you may not be aware of this because it's not available to everyone. It's available to Santa Brian over there. So it is the being able to show Zoom within Zoom. Yeah, you heard it right. I said being able to show Zoom within Zoom. So Brian, would you like to show the some of those features like the moving, the splitting of the screen when somebody else is presenting, and do that from your Zoom window because I can't from mine. Take it away, Brian.
Should be able to see my screen now.
Mm-hmm.
And on the side, there's a big zoom button there. Now, sometimes you want to change your picture, your background on the fly. I can click on beside the where it says the Zoom video and hit this here video settings, and voila, there you see me. I'm in there twice now. And under the video settings, one person was asking, well, what do I do? Ah, it doesn't want to allow me to actually load the background on that one. Maybe this one. No, okay. There's a little plus button up there, and you click on the plus button and you load your whatever you want as a background. Uh, it can be a JPEG or the other one that they have, and you can load them on there. But also, when you're running, if you want to run the PowerPoint feature, you do a very similar thing. I'll close that. Unless anybody has a question about this here changing, and you can go or change any of these background features. Like some people, one person the other night was saying, well, I can't do, show my Zoom window and the participants. And there's a little checkbox there that you need to tick off. And then if you want to allow your participants or your attendees, the side-by-side view is something that's very useful for each member to have. And then when you go up to view, you will have an extra thing in there. When somebody's sharing a PowerPoint presentation, you can do the side by side. The other one is if you want to share your screen, you want to use your background the uh, as a slideshow. So here we are, and this is the normal screen here. But up here on the right-hand side of the word basic is the word advanced. Now this is a bit different from what you have. You have to have your slideshow or your power. It has to be PowerPoint at this point. A PowerPoint show on your put it on your desktop, someplace you know where you can find it easily. And then you click on this here, PowerPoint as a virtual background, and up will pop where it is. And like I have a slideshow there as a background. I'm going to try this just because I'm already sharing. Now let's see what happens. Wow, I didn't know that. I just learned something. And there's a presentation I have. And now you see me down here in a little tiny square, but I can zoom myself up and show that. But that's another lesson. But these are the new things that you can do. And yes, I had to go out and buy a new desktop in order to be able to demonstrate and use this feature. So back to you, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Don't go back to the North Pole yet. Now, as Brian was showing that, I realized that some people might be asking, what is he talking about? Side by side? I mean, is that a dance step or something? So I did say that I was going to show just a few slides, and that is one of them, because, hey, one of the ways to be your best, not just in Zoom, but in anything, is to always have a backup plan. And Brian had promised that he would be here to demonstrate that. But I also thought, well, what if there's a glitch and he can't be here? So I had a backup. Let me just pull up the slides that I had kind of, and this, I do this with a little bit of trepidation because it might not be the right one. Yay. Okay, good. So I am now showing myself. I hope, raise your hand if you can see me on the little side corner. And as Brian mentioned, this is a cool feature. Not very many people know it yet. The really cool thing is, ta-da! Yay. I can get as big as I want to be, well, the size of the screen. And I can even move over somewhere else, like up here or down here or anywhere that I want. And then I can make myself really much smaller. There you are. This is a very powerful feature because you know how what happens when you're showing PowerPoint and you get to be this little person on the side and people object, well, we can't even see their facial expressions. Well, here, Zoom has created what is known as the slide share, PowerPoint slide share on Zoom. And it says it's still a beta. So it's, they're still testing it. But I hope that this is the right version where, let's see, oops, no, that's not the right version. Obviously, I'll go find the correct version where, let me stop the screen share first. I had the other version where I showed the side by side. But the side by side is, raise your hand if you know how to use the side by side view. Let me see, gallery. You're not included, Tiger. Okay, so raise your hand the rest. I think very few people know that. And Brian, I think showing the side by side view is going to be helpful to people. So could you quickly do that? Just focus on the side by side. You were referring to it, but you weren't showing it. So show how you move the side by side, the presentation of power. Can you do that? Or let me, let me see. How can we do that? You can't show
let
it
me- let me-
unless there's a PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, I think I need, but
Yeah, you
my
need to have a PowerPoint.
problem is when I go up to where it says view, I can show the speaker view with a gallery view. But if Michelle had a PowerPoint going,
Yeah,
but the problem is why don't you try and bring that PowerPoint up?
yeah. Let me have a PowerPoint on basic then,
Yeah,
just so that, in fact, let me show how
yeah,
there. That's
here. So
and
now,
then now you can show. Go ahead. Let's see. And
yeah,
guys, tell us if we're getting a little too techy here, but we're trying to demonstrate how you can use the side-by-side feature. So Brian, can you take it away?
and now you see side by side of the speaker and side by side of the gallery. So if I'm Michelle and I'm looking, which I am, I want to look at my audience, I can do that. And I start out my slideshow. And if I'm the speaker, I don't need to see it very big. I just make it small. On the other hand, if it's very interesting information on there and you really want to follow that closely, you can move this over. And that line appears between the gallery view and there, and you just drag that back and forth. And that's the first time that I've ever been able to demonstrate that feature in Zoom.
Brian, just a moment. I'm not sure if the people are seeing it. Tiger, are you seeing what Brian is talking about?
No.
No,
No, I
don't.
don't see what Brian is talking about either.
No. So
Oh,
I
okay.
guess we will have too many screen sharing. So the point is, and I will show briefly as soon as I pull up the right version of my PowerPoint, how you can make the screen, you can divide the screen in about exactly the same half and half. So you can see the speaker and you can see the person's slides. Or as Brian was saying, if you really don't need his slides, because sometimes people forget, they just leave their slide on when there's really nothing important there. You can slide it over to make it really small and focus on the speaker. So these are some of the features that Zoom has added. Now,
And Michelle, we do have a hand up from Stephanie.
Mm-hmm. From Stephanie, is that on the chat?
No, it's not. She has her hand raised here in the.
Oh, a hand up. I was
Yes,
thinking
a
hand
hand
up.
up.
Yes, please go ahead, Stephanie.
No, that was when you were asking how many of us had this issue. Raise your hand. So I raised my hand then.
Oh, okay.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Of course.
thank you. Fabulous. I mean, the more features, the more, I think this is my redefinition of Murphy, the more features there are to play with, the more the risk of a glitch. Would you agree? Not just
Yes.
agree. Yes. So one of my other best tips for Zoom and anything, in fact, is KISS. Keep it sweet and simple, or keep it short and simple. And I know there's another version of that, but I'm a positive person, so I won't use the other version of the KISS. But long ago, long before Zoom, I was asked to speak at a convention and I went crazy with PowerPoint. They were beautiful. And then I found out that the computer they were using had a lower microprocessor than mine where I created the PowerPoint. So when I presented it, it got pixelated. It went, and I found myself explaining while it was like, so that lesson burned in my memory, that keep it simple. I just attended another session earlier where the technology was just so fantastic, but then there were glitches. So again,
Michelle,
best tip is keep it as simple as possible. Yes, Brian?
there's a comment in the chat that I will answer while you find that PowerPoint where you can demonstrate the side by side.
Okay.
I can answer. Kathleen Tully asks, or she says, I use a second monitor as a teleprompter set up, and then she can see her notes and everything else. And that is really a good way. The only problem sometimes you have with that is when you got the second screen on there as part of it, then it's difficult to see exactly what everybody else is seeing. What I do in that particular case is I set up my cell phone to be in the meeting and set it on there, and then I see what everybody else is seeing. And when I'm doing my presentation, then I don't get confused because I see, like just whatever I was showing you was my screen, but you weren't seeing it. Had I had my cell phone on, I would have seen that. So yes, using a second screen is handy. I actually have 3 screens in front of me, but they're all separate computers.
Brian, we did have a question for you that there's people here that would like to get written information about what you shared. Is there any possibility you can drop your email address in the chat so that we can have those slides shared? And then
Yeah, I will do.
awesome, thank you. I'm not seeing any other, let me look back up here. Slide share, teleprompter. Awesome, we are caught up on questions.
Yes, and wonderful. Thank you. This is such a fabulous theme. I love this. And I just discovered that with all my various PowerPoint versions, I think the one that I ditched because I was trying to clean up my screen, or my I think I deleted the one that had all of those screenshots, but I have them on my Gmail. So I will just open, and it will not be as nice and smooth as PowerPoint as one other, but tell me, hopefully you're seeing my Gmail. It says Zoom screenshots. So this one would be, are you seeing it? Is this, I have this little tiny me and a big slide. Can you see that? Not if you are seeing it? Okay, good. Now, if on the other hand, I wanted to see more of the, the audience. Now there's only 2 people in the audience here, but if there were more in gallery view, then I would see them. And now you see it's about halfway. You see that? Are you seeing that? Okay. And then you could, on the other hand, make, oops, no, that's the same one.
No, that was
This one.
No, that was the right one.
Okay, there. So you see this line here? Are you seeing that? This, I can't move the line right now because this is a screenshot, but in your screen, on your Zoom, you see right now it says fit to window. That would be the best because then you don't have the big slide that's getting out of the window. But you can also do 50, 100, 100, and so on. And you see the side-by-side mode. This is what Brian and I were talking about. In your Zoom, this line would be movable. You would put your cursor here as I'm doing now, and then you could slide it to the left or to the right. So the speaker could get bigger or smaller, as the case may be. So I hope I helped with that. Now, there's just, I mean, Zoom keeps on adding and adding. I have been living an RVer's life for the last about 3.5 months. And I had said yes to Liana to do this. And I realized Zoom has added so many features since the time I've been RVing. Now I need to bring in the experts, and that's why Brian is here. So let me see. Brian has put his email address. Let me put mine as well. Mine is super easy. Just remember Toastmaster Michelle with 2 L's at gmail.com. And you can email me anytime, day or night. I may not answer immediately, but I will definitely get back to you.
Oh, come on, Michelle. We know you don't get any sleep. You're in every single online Toastmasters meeting possible.
Not anymore, not anymore, not with the traveling. I mean,
Yay!
I am now an RVer first and a Toastmaster second. I can't believe I'm saying that, but yes.
Oh my goodness, that is not like you. I know you live, eat, and breathe Toastmasters.
Well, I just don't eat as much anymore. How about that? Okay, so let me see. Are we caught up with the questions?
Yeah,
I think
we
so.
are caught up and we have about 18 more minutes roughly.
Okay, let
Or-
us spend, thank you so much. Thank you. Let
course.
us spend that time with do's and don'ts. Now, I had initially planned to discuss do's and don'ts like a speaker, like these are the do's and don'ts. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is one perfect illustration of one man's poison is another man's cup of tea. So I don't think there really is a do's and don'ts, really, because each person has his or her own preferences. There are just some suggestions. For example, the mute button. That is, I guess, well, maybe the mute button is perhaps the only do or don't that really needs to be applied, as Crystal had threatened early on. The mute button, when you come in to Zoom, please have yourself muted, because sometimes just your presence coming in, unless you want to have like entrance, unless you want to have a dramatic entrance, it's better to just come in quietly with your audio off. And then as you hear what's going on, then switch on your audio. With the video, I know we are normally, and TI, Toastmasters International, in their wisdom, it says that when there's a contest or a meeting, turn off your video. But can you imagine standing in a room in person, talking to people with, like, can you imagine talking to people without their faces? That would be so difficult, right? So I would suggest, unless you absolutely must, like in a contest, leave your video on. And also, remember this, some people set their Zoom to remove people without their video on. I mean, not remove, but to not show. So then you become totally invisible. Now, if that's what suits your fancy, then fine. But if you want to be your best, it's going to be hard to be your best when you're not even visible at all. So I would recommend that you come in, show yourself, and also have a nice profile picture. You saw my profile picture earlier when I was showing some examples of the slides. That was my Toastmaster branded picture. So whenever I switch off, then that comes on. Now here, because I'm using the district Toastmasters or the district Zoom, when I switch off, it just says my name. Boring. So I would recommend you each find your perfect picture or your favorite picture and use that as your profile picture. Yes, I agree absolutely, Kathleen. Kathleen saying from a speaker's perspective, it is very, what is that? It can be crucial for audience members if they're engaged with the material. Yes, absolutely. And that's why Crystal was saying that we should maybe turn off videos, or somebody was saying, I said, no, I want to see everybody's video. I want to see the nods. I want to see the smiles. And it really
That's my
helps you
fault.
as a speaker.
That's my fault. I was given rules. I have to follow
Yes.
the rules.
Yes.
But in this situation, if you have less than 35, 40 people, you can have video. It won't affect the bandwidth. But when you're in an online contest, it actually states now in the contest rules that just came down from Toastmasters about a month ago that we have to do it in that fashion because there are so many people in those particular setups, and so they are having specific rules for that. And I'm actually going to be making a video here shortly to share with everyone about how that works, because I have had a couple of questions on that, particularly from Jack. Jack, I still owe you a video, and so I was going to take care of that today.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, Kathleen and I are on the same page. We were talking in general, and we understand as Zoom master, you have to do that. Crystal, we were just saying in general, when you have the option, request for people to be on video, because as a speaker, trust me, as a speaker, it feels so weird to be talking to blanks, especially black. I mean, black screens with their names, you don't know if they're even there or not. You don't see the nods, or even more importantly, you don't see the frowns. You know, if
Mhm.
somebody is looking like that, just like in an in-person setting, if somebody's looking like that or kind of scratching, then you can say, Tim, do you have any questions? And then Tim says, no, I was just really scratching. Just kidding, Tim.
One
So
thing I also suggest is on your camera, when you have it facing forward, put a picture of one of your children, a significant other, so that way you're not only looking at them, but you're getting the best smiles in audience because it's your support group that you have. So whether it's nieces, nephews, whoever your closest person is, if they've got a big smile on their face and you're looking right at the camera, even if everyone else is blank, that's going to give you the best support possible for your speeches.
that's another great idea. So again, remember I said a while ago, what works for you. So I would rather not say this is what you have to do. I would rather say what works for you. What are the hacks? What are the tips that would work for you?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
one of the things, yes, one of the things that I do want to recommend is if you have to leave your, if you have to leave your area, please have the courtesy of switching off your, right now I switch it off. It doesn't look good because it's just Michelle, Alba. There's no picture, but generally when I'm on my own, then I would have my nice picture with a hat and the big smile. But it is really just basic courtesy. Do not leave your screen when you're not there. And the other thing that's even worse is as you are leaving or as you are getting back, I will not, gross you out with a demonstration, but as you stand up, there's all of that part of you which is better unseen. And that's one reason why it's good to switch off. Also, of course, just as I said, a courtesy.
We do have a question of how do you add a profile picture to
Oh.
your Zoom account?
Okay, so first of all, of course, choose your favorite picture and then make sure it is on your computer or, as Brian would say, somewhere easily accessible. Then go to Zoom. And I wish I could demonstrate this live, but as I said, my microprocessor isn't strong enough. But go to your Zoom account. When you
Michelle,
click
if you
on,
want, I can show it while you're speaking since mine is
awesome,
across
we are
both.
such an incredible team. Wow.
Absolutely. So let me get that up and going so I can show exactly what
Okay.
to do with my screen
Okay.
because I've got the power.
Yeah, she's got the power.
Okay, so if I bring up my Zoom screen, and I hope you can see this.
No, what we're seeing, okay, good. Now we're seeing it.
And then we're going to go to the little ellipsis. Nope, hold on. I haven't done this in a while, so forgive me on this.
Yeah,
with sharing
warning,
it-
Zoom keeps on changing.
just
They
a
keep on
Zoom
second.
improving.
changes everything.
Just
Oh, there we go. So you go to participants. You
no.
can see.
No. Crystal, let's switch over to Santa Claus because
All right.
he's like, he bought a new computer just to be the Zoom master. So
Sounds
Brian,
good.
can you please show how to do that? Where's Brian?
Yes.
Hope you didn't go back to the South Pole. Do it. Where are you?
I'm there. I'm sharing.
Okay.
So the first thing you have to do is you have to get yourself a free Zoom account of your own. Doesn't cost you anything. And you can talk to your sister who might live in Australia or wherever it is for unlimited amount of time on a one-on-one on a Zoom account, a Zoom session. However, if if your brother-in-law came in with that conversation, you're then limited to 40 minutes.
Brian, I'm talking about limited. We have limited time, so can you go straight to demonstrating how to add a profile picture, please?
So we have to go, what we do is we go into Zoom.usa. And then I have to sign in.
Just click on
Oh,
my
I'm
account.
already in there. I'm already in there.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
that's the fun thing with Zoom.
yeah, in this setup here, you see this picture I have there. I can change it or delete it or add a new one. And that's where you do it. It'll say, you know, Michelle Alba Lim here and whatever it is. And that's
Yeah,
how
Brian, can you just demonstrate? You can always put it back in. Can you delete? Can you change it, please, so that our audience?
Yeah. I will have to go find a
Upload a picture.
upload a picture. Upload a picture.
Now we're seeing
Now,
all.
now you need to know. Now that
Okay. Yeah.
you
Okay.
get the
So
ID.
okay. Well, Brian is doing that. One of the lessons, or one of the being the best tips that I'd like to mention, which I don't think I've mentioned yet, is before, if you're a speaker or if you expect to be sharing your screen, make sure that you clean up your desktop, because Zoom has a fancy way or a naughty way of going to your desktop or somewhere where you don't really want it to go. So make sure that you have a clean desktop, nothing that you wouldn't want people to see. That's a very important tip. And Brian, are you going to get a picture? Or if not, I think, okay, there you are.
No, yeah, I'll get a picture. Well, here we are. We'll go for a key.
Okay.
And now there's my key, and I can't make it any bigger, but you could
You can
drag
pull
around.
on the lower corner there.
There. All right. And I saved that. And that's
There you are.
my background.
There you are. Thank you very much. Thank you for that quick demonstration on the fly. So I hope.
And to test it, I'll turn off my video.
Okay.
Michelle, can I say something? And Crystal?
Sure, absolutely, Dee. Go ahead.
Zoom is fabulous, but there is certain etiquette rules. And my thought is when you have guests and new people to your club or whatever meeting you're in, is be professional. You're still the Toastmaster. You still are a Toastmaster. You need to have respect for yourself and the people on Zoom. So no eating, no doing other work while you're on. Like Michelle said, please black yourself out or take yourself off the screen if you have to answer a phone or something, because it really takes away from the meaning of Toastmasters. We're supposed to care. We're supposed to be leaders. We're supposed to be speakers. So I've experienced this in several Zoom meetings, and it's very distracting, and I think doesn't respect those in the meeting, if that makes sense.
Well said, Dee. Well said. Oops, I just had a background sound. Okay, very well said. I do have to put a caveat on that because there are clubs that organize or meet for the sake of just not having to be on point or being very formal. And one of them, in fact, if you are from District 7, and I see most of you are from District 7, well, not all, but most are from District 7, we have a club called Friday Night Fun Masters, which met last night, and we meet only once a month, first Fridays of the month. And in that club, we just want to have fun because we are all multiple club members. In my case, Brian, I think, has one club more, 8. I have 7. So, and Tiger has 6 or something like that. So we all just want to be crazy there. And there, yes, we eat and drink, we laugh. We're just, flat out crazy. But we do let people know that we are Friday Night Fun Masters. And
that-
it is Friday night.
Right.
And
And
we
that's
wanna have fun.
good. That's good. But there's a time and a place. And if you advertise it that way, fabulous. You know what I mean? But there are some people that come just to gain knowledge, to learn how to be a leader. And so demonstrating that is very important. And I like to have fun too, believe me. And I can and do have fun in my clubs like we're doing kind of now. But it's real important to kind of keep the Toastmaster theme there as well. You know what I mean? Because we're all still here to learn. So having fun is fabulous, but let's be structured about it to some point.
Thank you, Dee. And if you had been here at the start of the session, we did have, Crystal and I did have a disclaimer that this is going to be a little bit messy because both Crystal and I are messy, and we're in fact still vying for the title, the messiest master of all. And I think we're tied right now, Crystal, right? But Brian is coming in to steal the thunder from both of us.
Well, he
So
is Santa.
anyway, yes.
Santa,
So
it's important to have Santa. I'm trying to stay on the good list this year. So I'm trying to be not on the naughty list, but as many of you who have spent some time with me at TLIs or other events know that I am a complete mess. I run around like a chicken with my head cut off, and I'm constantly doing things. So it's definitely, we're both running around. I remember in Chicago, you and I were like this, and this.
Crystal, sorry to cut you off,
Yes,
but
we
we're
have
now
1
a
minute
minute.
left.
We are now a minute to official time. So I think either you or Tiger has something to say, and then we will stop the recording. And for anybody who hasn't had enough yet, you want to hang on, that's great. But is it you, Crystal, or Tiger?
I am the one that handles closing out the recording.
Good.
So just
So
let me
let's
know
do it.
when you are done and I will close it off.
Well, all I want to say is that this is an ongoing learning process. Zoom is constantly evolving. Never think that you already know everything about Zoom, because 24 hours later, you will have a different version. 48 hours later, there will be a different technique that you did not know about. So lesson learned from me, I had to scramble to be ready for this session because I thought I was really good 3 months ago, 2 months ago, but Zoom has moved. It has, pardon the pun, zoomed ahead in that time. So always be constantly on the lookout for new tips, and never be embarrassed to say, hey, I need help, because I've seen that is the best way to be the best. Back to you, over to you, Crystal.
I'm going to hand things over to Tiger. He is our room coordinator, and if he has anything else to say before I stop the recording, it's on him.
I just want to thank everybody for coming. You have Michelle's email address, so if you have further questions, please direct them. The one thing I know about Michelle, if she doesn't know the answer, she'll find the answer. So thank you all for coming. I hope you have a wonderful day. That's all I have to say. Back to you, Crystal.
Let's give Michelle a complete round of applause, whether you do it sign language or yay, give her a big hand. Oh, I like Kathleen's hand. That's amazing.
I like Crystal's, the circle. I like that.
Hey,
But
thank you
otherwise,
so much.
I am going to stop this recording. Oh, Kathleen even has more. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Michelle, can you put your email address again in the chat so that we can have that real quick before I stop the recording?
Yes, and everyone remember to save the chat, because everything goes away after.
I will actually get a copy of that. So let me put my email address. If you want a copy of the chat.